Good morning and welcome to the Next Gen Planners Big Breakfast Conference special.
I'm Dan Graham.
And I'm Ellie Austin-Williams, and we are here to bring you a fresh perspective on careers in personal finance and financial planning.
Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us this week. Of course, it is day 4 of the conference, and this week, as part of our special shows, we've got 5 big topics, and today's big topic is mental health. So what we want to hear from you is your opinions on this. So please, if you have any comments on this, without any hate, please put it into the live chat on the right-hand side, and we may even pop them up on the screen.
On today's show, we have 3 more awesome guests. We've got Mark Brown from Investec. Nick Elston's got a message for all of you about mental health. And we've got Steve Nelson from the Landcat to chat about our big topic. So let's get straight into the show with our first guest, Mark from Investec. How are you doing this morning, Mark?
Morning, everyone. I must apologise. I had a bit of technology issues, literally 30 seconds due to when we were meant to go live. So I'm actually just very quickly dialed into my phone, but nothing is ever as it is meant to happen when we're doing things live, is it, as they say? How is everyone doing?
It's a virtual conference, Mark. Don't worry about it. These things are expected, and in true Next Gen style, seriously, don't worry about it. So thank you so much for joining us anyways. And we're very grateful here at Next Gen Planners for the support that you guys at Investec are giving to the Next Gen 21 conference. So I'm just going to start by asking you that question. Why did you guys choose to sponsor the Next Gen 21 conference?
Well, you know, I first heard about Next Gen through an advisor that I work with who started his own IFA practice a few years ago. And from speaking to him when he was first starting out, he relied very heavily on the Next Gen community for tips and ideas when starting out. So, and it really kind of struck me the fact that even though many people that are part of the community could be considered competitors to him, there's just really a real sense of community and trying to improve as a collective. And since then, you know, I've met with and worked with a number of advisors that are part of Next Gen, and they always have a genuine desire to improve the profession. And for us at Investec, that's something that's so important to us. We want to be working with forward-looking advisors that are constantly looking to raise the bar for the profession. So when the opportunity came to sponsor the conference, it was kind of a no-brainer for us, and we're very happy to be involved.
Awesome. We're very glad to have you. And you're currently an investment manager at Investec. So what would you say is the best thing about what you do?
Yeah, well, it's a bit cheesy, but genuinely, I think that the best part of my role is the people that I've got the privilege of working with and meeting with. So, you know, it is one of the larger investment management companies in the UK and a mid-sized bank. We're very fortunate to be able to have access to the highest levels of company management teams when we're looking for investment opportunities. So that's been invaluable to us during the pandemic, where we've had company meetings in our offices on a one-to-one basis. You know, typically we'll have anywhere between 30 and 70 company meetings a month. You know, one of the more interesting ones for us, which we've had in our office a few times, has been AstraZeneca, the head of their vaccine group. So stuff like that is just tremendous to be involved with. And we've got 25 analysts in-house that are able to host those meetings for us. As well as that, you know, working with advisors and their clients is just really special. There's kind of so many different scenarios that you get involved with, everything from people in the entertainment industry, busy chief executives, through to business owners. So definitely the best part of the role is the people that you get to work with.
Yeah, and one of the things that you mentioned there was that you guys work very, very closely with IFAs. One of the people that you work with is closely is IFAs. But what would you say is one of the main benefits of an IFA working closely with people like you, investment managers at banks such as yours?
Yeah, so I definitely think the IFA community is extremely important to us. You know, if you look at where not much of our new business has come from in the last year, it's come from our partner advisors, and there's a few reasons why an IFA might choose to work with us, but really the key is that we allow them to sort of work with more perhaps bigger and more interesting cases that they wouldn't be able to to work with on their own. So if I just pick a few examples, I've got a client at the moment that's a US connected individual, so they're bound by PFIC rules, so they have to buy direct stocks and direct bonds. That's something that an IFA can't do themselves. Or I've got another case at the moment with a client in the entertainment industry, and he's got a UK onshore arrangement that his advisor looks after, and we've set up an offshore arrangement as well, and that's something that we can do working alongside the advisor. But probably the most relevant example is with business owners. We work with a number of advisors that look after business owner clients, and if they're coming up towards an exit opportunity, then we can bring in two strands of our business, the bank and the wealth management side of things. So, and I think it's really kind of important to say is that when we do work with an advisor, the advisor's always placed front and center in front of the client, and we're just kind of a cog as part of their wider financial picture. And the point for us is just making sure that we're building 10+ year relationships with an advisor and their clients. And in many instances, it's actually intergenerational. We've been working with advisors through the generation. So I just think that it's much more of a partnership when we work with our IFAs. And that's how we like to develop things at Investec. We don't like to sort of put as many products as we can in the desks of people, because no one wants that. At the end of the day, we're here to lend an ear on things and be a genuine partner.
It's a great answer. Thank you so much, Mark. And unfortunately, that wraps up our time with you this morning, Mark. But seriously, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for dealing with the technical issues. I could talk to you all day, but unfortunately, we're a bit struck for time this morning. But thank you for coming on. Thank you to Investec for sponsoring the Next Gen 21 conference. I'm sure that we'll see you guys very, very soon. Thanks, Mark.
Absolutely. Before we go, just well done, everyone, on putting together the conference. I've dialed into most of the sessions yesterday, and they've all been phenomenal. So great job, everyone.
Good. Thank you very much, Mark. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to Mark. And for those in our audience, look out the CPD session from Investec on Friday's Your CPD Year in a Day. So next up, we've got a monologue from Nick Elston, who's here to talk about mental health and some tips about how we can take it seriously. So take it away, Nick.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Great to be here. Hey, everyone. So my name is Nick Elston. I work as a speaker in the mental health arena as a non-solution focused person. So what I do is to drive engagement and increase all the interaction with initiatives that are in place already. So I work cross industry, but in your space initially, I wanted to kind of spend just 10 minutes talking about what I've been hearing from audiences and clients in your space and some things that we can do as non-medical professionals to support other people. And I think the first thing is to recognize that everybody that you meet, including yourself, will be stuck in one of these three camps: acknowledgement, survival, or evolution. Now, acknowledgement is this, and I'm going to use my business as an example because we've all had those challenges over the past kind of 18 months, whatever it's been now, that overnight in March last year, my business was wiped out. As a speaker, as a coach, everything was done in person. This isn't like an X Factor sob story. Coldplay aren't going to walk in and play Fix You. Everyone's had their own stuff to deal with. But overnight, what was a really thriving business, a really huge packed kind of order book just went out overnight. And is it those points in our life where we need to realize that we may not be in a position that we are in through choice? We may be in a position of pain or frustration or loss. But the only way through that is to acknowledge exactly where we are, to accept fully that everything that we've ever done, everyone that we've ever been, and everything that we've ever said has led exactly to where we are right now, wherever that may be. The true impact of the pandemic and the true impact of lockdown has really been on our ability to aspire, our ability to create goals, to be forward thinking. And we're all forward thinking in your profession, especially, but in business in general. When we haven't got that ability to make plans the way that we used to, where do you find the momentum? And for me, it's acceptance, it's acknowledgement, exactly where we are right now. And then we have that momentum to drive forward to survival. Now, survival was this. It looks different for different people, but for me, it was very much about how long can I last without any income? Great question. How long can I last without any heart medication or shielded from most of this? Because I didn't know if that was going to be affected. We all had this kind of checklist of things that we had to achieve to be able to survive. And once we've worked out how long we could survive, exactly where we are right now, then and only then can we then have a time frame to move forward? For those who are project focused amongst you, once you have momentum and you have a time frame, you have a goal, a way forward. And that's where we move to evolution. Evolution was accepting that how we used to live and learn and work this time last year was very different to how we live and learn and work today. But the reality is that it could be very different again this time next month, this time in 3 months. So it's about getting good with change. It's about kind of building resilience and very much setting your boundaries in life and in business. If you're not truly living a life or running a business on your terms, by default, you're running a business or living a life on somebody else's terms. Now has been a great time to start to put those boundaries in place, and boundaries look different for different people. So it could be something as simple as putting 10-minute buffer zones in between virtual calls, because as Dan was saying, he's been on kind of this platform for 4 days solid. He's kind of done with this in the nicest possible way. You'd never tell, but he's kind of done with this. But we've all had that. We've all that kind of fatigue of being continually connected virtually. And I know 80% of my life was spent kind of flying and traveling all over the world doing this stuff. I felt far more tired working from home than I did being out and about doing my stuff. So boundaries can mean different things to different people. It could be something as simple as that. It could be something as simple as saying that your email response time to clients is now 8 hours instead of 4 hours. So pre-pandemic, it was 4 hours. Now it's 8 hours. Fantastic. If that's your boundary, that's your boundary. However, here's the difference. Unless we have the courage to communicate our boundaries to the people that it affects, in this example, your clients, their expectation doesn't change. And it's people's expectations of you and your business that really kind of ramps up the pressure on our mental health in any given day. It's the same when Boris and Rishi were announcing the latest tax breaks, the latest initiatives here in the UK. And as soon as that press conference finished, they'll be on the phone to you as a trusted advisor saying, right, what do I do now? There's a huge transfer of anxiety. They get really anxious about their business and about money and all the things that are really kind of triggering to them. And all they want to do is kind of pass it on to you as that trusted person. Where do you actually go with that? You've just watched the same press conference as they have, but their expectation has not been managed to an extent where they expect you to sort that out right now. We need to start to manage our expectations, and that can only start by really kind of getting clear with our boundaries, how we want to live, how we want to learn, and how we want to work. Because the first thing we sacrifice when we struggle with our mental health is choice. When actually it's the only thing we have. We cannot control the uncontrollable. We cannot control pandemics. We cannot control other people, what they say, what they do. All we can control is how we proactively choose to go into each and every day. Our thoughts, our actions, and knowing that at any given time, something could blindside us. Back to that resilience piece again. I think if we're trying to support other people, whether it's kind of employees or whether it could be friends or family or maybe even clients, because let's face it, anybody that comes to you with a big challenge such as mental health or mental illness, more on that in a little bit, then they have the trust and rapport with you strong enough to open up. So actually some of the deepest relationships you could build will be with your clients. They trust you more than anybody else in their lives. So there is a responsibility here, but it's a human flaw wrapped in a kindness to feel the need to fix anybody that comes to us with a problem. As non-medical professionals, as non-solution focused people in the mental health arena, then we have a responsibility, but it's not to fix them. It's to listen. Essentially in life, people just want to be heard and they want to be understood. So if somebody comes to you, firstly, that's a massive well done, but then really give them that kind of upfront contract to them saying kind of, in my words, I would use this, but choose your own words. As you know, I am not solution focused. I'm not here to fix you in that sense. I use fix very intently, by the way. But I will listen to you as much as you need to. I will support you as much as I can, and I will signpost you to whatever help you need. Is that okay with you? Get their buy-in so they know the terms of your conversation. Because actually, the more important question is how can we help people? It's protecting ourselves so that we can have more conversations with more people. We really drive a true positive culture around mental health. And then when they do that, when they say, yeah, actually, I just want to talk to you about this, then that's fine. So firstly, there's 3 reasons why we really need to actively listen to people. The first reason is there's a big responsibility here. If it's not to fix them, actually, it's because it could be the only time in their lives they decide to open up to anybody. That's a huge responsibility, but it's absolutely doable. The second thing is because the problem that they present to you will very rarely be the problem. It's the reason why Mental Health UK run the Ask Twice campaign. We're conditioned to give a positive affirmation on the first question. How are you? I'm great, thanks. How are you? But how are you feeling? Well, actually, it opens up an emotional conversation. And what they will present sometimes, the high anxiety, for example, and burnout and breakdown, which was my experience, what you'll present is sensitivity, aggression, defensive behavior, lethargy, or lack of energy. There's lots of reasons why people will come to you to talk. So really listen. And the third reason is because we need to actively signpost. If we are not the fix, if we are not the person to help them, how can we then put them in a position where they are seeking support? And that's why we need to get really comfortable with knowing the solutions and the initiatives that are in place. Sometimes within an organization is the fastest route to help if you're in a big organization, but also knowing the big organizations and charities and the great work practitioners, trusted partners, build up a network of people that can support anybody in any given situation. And know that we can actually still use our voice and our platform to create positive change for communities that we're not part of. I work a lot in the Black and ethnic minority community, LGBTQ plus communities. I work a lot in correcting gender imbalance in professional speaking, all communities and causes that I'm not truly part of, essentially, but I can still use my voice to create positive change. I can still signpost to that positive change, and we can all do that. And I think if we take that approach, then the world will be a better place. We will continue to spread the culture that's being really kind of brewed, as I mentioned in my talk yesterday to South Africa, really being brewed within Next Gen. It's changing the culture. You are pioneers, and it's just another step that we can do from a mental health perspective. I guess finally, it's recognizing that, and it's a quote that I love. I love country music, as a lot of you guys know. It's a great country song by Gary Allan. It's "Every storm runs out of rain." I think we need to know that right now, that this storm for a lot of people has been brutal. And I know people that have been through a lot of storms. You have, but at least you survived because you're here. Most of the time we thrive. Most of the time we learn. And actually, when we come through this, we'll be better for the experience, stronger, more resilient for the experience, knowing that we cannot turn back time, knowing that we can only play the hand that life deals with us. I know people that have been through brutal experiences and gone on to do amazing, exciting and wonderful things. And that's kind of where we need to be. And you are never, ever done. The power is always in the comeback. And if it's you that doesn't need that message of hope at the moment, then it will be your clients and it will be the people around you. So truly listen, truly understand and non-judge and don't judge in that sense, then actively signpost, and you know you've done the very best you can as a decent human being. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the session and also the rest of the conference. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Nick. I didn't know that I needed that motivation this morning, but I do. So honestly, mate, every time you talk, I'm just encapsulated by what you're saying. And thank you so much for everything that you've done for all the speaker and influencers over the past few months as well. Your help has been massively appreciated. If anyone wants to find out more about what Nick does, I popped a link up on the screen there, but it's nickalston.com, isn't it, Nick? So head over to there, find out more about what Nick does. And I think you've got a speaking academy today, haven't you, as well? It's going on?
Straight after this, yeah.
There you go. Good luck with that, Nick. I will see you very soon. Thank you for joining us, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much to Nick for that awesome monologue. And if you want, and today we are talking about mental health. So it's time for our big breakfast, big topic. We're going to be kicking off this segment with Steve Nelson from Landcat. Hi, Steve.
Hello. I've got my mug. Look.
Yeah. Steve,
branded.
Steve's doing some product placement this morning, everyone. We've let him off. It's okay. So, Steve, as Ellie mentioned there, our big topic today is mental health. And obviously, everyone knows you for talking about this and taking it very, very seriously. And it's a huge topic. But the first question I want to ask you is, how do you think that our profession is doing in recognizing the topic as important as it is?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, and what an amazing monologue there from Nick. I think you should have put him on last, because I'm about to kill the mood with my downbeat West Fife demeanour. But there we go. No, I think definitely better. I mean, it's one of those things where it's not like the FTSE index where you can, go online and take a measurement and take a quant measurement, but it's definitely better. I mean, just thinking back to my own experience of when I had that really difficult time. God, I can't remember when it was, 8 or 9 years ago now. I can't really remember, but I didn't get the sense that it was even really spoken about in aggregate. Whereas now it's definitely it's a tangible thing, and I think that's down to publications and organisations and key people in the sector really taken it forward. So I mean, it's something that's deeply individual and deeply personal. So it's hard to say whether it's having an effect on a person by person basis, but I think it is, and I think it's really important, and that's my gut instinct. But equally, there's still loads of work to be done, I reckon.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you think are some of the warning signs of poor mental health?
Supporting Scotland's one for me. It's not been a good week. No, but joking aside, again, I can only really go by personal experience, and I think a little bit of what Nick was mentioning there in his monologue, I think resonates with me. Where certainly in my experience, knowing what I know about myself, and this has been going on and off intermittently for 20 years or so now, and I finally feel like I'm starting to make sense of it. But definitely lack of concentration, fatigue, starting to withdraw from conversations and people and seeing people and things like that. I mean, going back to when I had my really, really bad episode, 8 or 9 years ago, I remember, everybody's got their core set of skills in their work. And for me, back at the time, it was always spreadsheets. I was known as the spreadsheet guy within the marketing team. And I was doing this, what was really quite a dull segmentation exercise, but it was pretty straightforward, and I just couldn't do it. I just absolutely could not do it. I couldn't look at the data and make sense of it. And it was like, imagine being a runner or a tennis player or something like that, where everything in your training and your physicality, you know what to do, but you just cannot make it happen for whatever reason. And that's definitely one of the main signs for me is starting to feel that fog descending, where you can't quite make thoughts work and make them talk to each other. So that's definitely one sign for me. I think, if I was in a managerial role or leading a team or running a business, I would definitely start to look out for members of staff maybe starting to withdraw a little bit, maybe for being a little bit more quiet than usual, or acting just a little bit differently to how they normally would. And again, Nick said it really, really well. Having that conversation in that relationship that starts with, how are you doing? It's not always about the task. It's not always about the work list. It's, how are you doing? And keep asking and see if you can start off a conversation.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And how long do you think it will be until the stigma around mental health at work starts to disappear?
Oh, well, I guess I don't know. Is the answer. It's definitely getting better, but it's one of those, without sounding, really cheesy, it's one of those things that's kind of up to us. The thing about stigma is that if you're a business leader, or if you're running an organization or a company, or in a position of authority or public speaker or whoever, you have power within you to help make stupid things like stigma go away. Because stigma around mental health is like fundamentally ridiculous, because nobody chooses to be depressed or anxious or to have certain other conditions. Like, nobody in their right mind would choose to do that, and it's not a function of their personality. It's an outcome, or it's a symptom of something that's going on. So I guess it's repeating the same message. If you're in a position of influence, you have a huge amount of power. Whether you're running a large organization like NextGen, and some of the work that you ladies and gents are doing is incredible, because that's out in the open, and it's a collective unit of like-minded individuals, and that has a great effect within the sector. But if you're running an organization with 2 or 3 people, it's you that has the biggest influence on those people in their day-to-day life. So the way I like to look at it is that if you don't have experience of poor mental health, and you maybe feel it's a little bit alien to you, and you don't know the right thing to do or the right thing to say, then that's absolutely fine. We need to retain the ability to be wrong and to not get things perfect absolutely every time. So I reckon if I was sat watching this and I was a business leader and I thought, I don't know how to approach this subject, just say that to your staff. Say, I've seen this thing on mental health. I've never experienced that, but I want to run a good business. I want to be there for you. I want to look after you and your health and well-being, because that's the right thing to do for my business. And that would be hugely powerful to hear that, I think, as someone who has suffered, to hear from someone who hasn't, to say, I don't get this. I don't understand. I want you to talk to me, and I want to understand. That was a very long-winded answer, but
that's a fantastic answer. Vulnerability meets vulnerability is kind of what it is. Showing that you care is the first step, isn't it? So thank you so much, Steve. Honestly, I could talk to you all day, and I have talked to you in a podcast, and it was a fantastic one. That's coming soon as well. But thank you for joining us, Steve. We'll see you very soon, mate. So unfortunately, that's all we have time for this morning, because in literally 4 minutes' time, we are kicking off the UK leg of the Next Gen 21 conference, leg 4 out of 4, and we've got even more amazing speakers lined up. All you need to do is head over to nextgen21.com, put in your password, head to day 2, and then go to the United Kingdom. Thank you so much to my co-host Ellie, of course, to Nick, to Steve, and to Mark for joining us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, where the big topic, and it's the final show tomorrow, the big topic is changing paths, and we've got some fantastic interviews lined up. But have a great day today. We'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much to Ellie, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.